Welcome to this Crochet Bat tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet this bat plushie. Let's get straight into the tutorial. The materials that you will need are a 5mm crochet hook, scissors, a yarn needle. You will need 12mm safety eyes. You will also need weight 6 yarn in 2 colors, your primary color and your secondary color, which we will be only using for the wings. And finally, you will need some stuffing. If you use a smaller weight of yarn and a smaller hook size, such as 3mm, this is what your bat will turn out like, so feel free to use thinner yarn if you like. So we're going to start off by grabbing our primary color. You will also need your crochet hook. So we're going to begin by making our magic ring. So I like to use the 2-chain method to make my magic ring, but you can use whichever method you like. To do the 2-chain method, we will start off with a slip knot and tighten that, and then we will chain 2. So 1 and 2. And then our single crochets for the magic ring will go into this first chain that we made right here. So chain number 1 is our magic ring. So for round 1, we are going to be doing 6 single crochets into our first chain or our magic ring. Now for round 2, you'll want to do 6 increases. An increase is doing 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. So by doing 6, this will take us up to 12 stitches in total. Once you've completed that round, we're going to put our stitch marker in. Now I like to use scrap yarn as my stitch marker, but you are welcome to use an actual stitch marker if you would like. And then for the following round, we're going to do single crochet increase times by 6. So in the first stitch we'll do a single crochet, and in the second stitch we'll do an increase, and then we repeat that pattern all the way around. And this will take us up to 18 stitches. For round 4, we'll do 2 single crochets and then an increase times by 6, and this will take us up to 24 stitches. Then for the following round, we'll do 3 single crochets and an increase times by 6, and this will take us up to 30 stitches in total. Then for the last round of increases, we're going to do 4 single crochets and an increase times by 6. This will take us up to 36 stitches in total. Now we are going to single crochet for the next 3 rounds. So from round 7 to 9 we will be single crocheting all the way round. So after you've completed those 3 rounds of single crochet, we will now do 4 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 30 stitches in total. Now for the following round, we'll do 3 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 24 stitches. For the following round, we'll do 2 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 18 stitches. Now for the next round, we'll do single crochet decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 12 stitches. So we're going to put safety eyes and stuffing in soon, but first we're going to do the following round, which is single crochet increase times by 6. So this is where we start increasing out again to make the body, because we've just done the head here. So this will take us back up to 18 stitches. Then for the next round, we'll do 2 single crochets and an increase times by 6, and this will take us up to 24 stitches. So right now we're going to go ahead and add some stuffing to the head, and this will help us figure out the placement of the safety eyes. So I've put my safety eyes in between rounds 9 and 10, and these safety eyes are approximately 9 to 10 stitches apart. You can put yours closer together if you like, it's just a personal choice. So I'm going to go ahead and clip these in. So now that we've clipped those in, we can go ahead and finish stuffing the head. And now we will continue around. So for the following round, we will do 3 single crochets and an increase times by 6, and this will take us up to 30 stitches. Now we will be single crocheting for the following 4 rounds. So go ahead and from rounds 17 to 20 single crochet all the way round. Once you've single crocheted for 4 rounds, for the next round we are going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 24 stitches. Then for the following round, we'll do 2 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 18 stitches. Now we're going to go ahead and add more stuffing to the head as well as the body. After you've added stuffing, we'll continue on to the next round. For the next round, we are going to do single crochet decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 12 stitches. Now for the final round of the body, we'll do 6 decreases, and this will take us down to 6 stitches. Now we are going to leave a bit of a tail for sewing the bottom of the bat shut. We'll just cut it off about there. And then we will pull through to finish off. So now you need to grab your yarn needle and we're going to sew the end of the bat shut. So we'll put the yarn into our yarn needle. And now we're going to sew around the outside in the front loops only. So we're going to go into the first front loop here and then pull through, then out of the second front loop and pull through, into the third front loop, and then out of the fourth front loop, then into the fifth front loop and out of the sixth front loop. Now you can just pull tight to close it up. And now I'm just going to bring my yarn needle through to a few random spots before I cut the remaining tail off. So I'll just go ahead and cut that off. So now we are going to crochet the wings. So for this, you'll want to start with your secondary color. So grab your secondary color and we'll grab our crochet hook and we're going to begin by doing 6 single crochets into our magic ring. Then for round 2, you'll do 6 increases, and this will take us up to 12 stitches. Then for round 3, we'll do single crochet increase times by 6, and this will take us up to 18 stitches. For the following round, we'll do 2 single crochets and an increase times by 6, which will take us up to 24 stitches. Now for the final round in our secondary color, we are going to do 3 single crochets and an increase times by 6, which will take us up to 30 stitches. Now at the end of the last increase, you will want to color change to our primary color, which is the light purple, or whichever primary color you're using. So once you've finished up the round, switch to your primary color. So you can see I'm just switching over to my primary color and I am tying the primary and secondary color together. And now we can cut off our secondary color as we won't need it. Once you've switched over to your primary color, what you're going to do is you're going to actually fold your circle in half. So make sure that the tails are on the inside of your circle, and this will sort of form a wing shape. So for the next round, we are going to be single crocheting through the top of both halves all the way across the top here. So here's an example of what we will be doing. As you can see in this wing, I've single crocheted across the top of the halves, so through both stitches at once. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our hook into the next stitch along, just as normal. Then we will fold this in half, and you're going to find the stitch that's on the opposite side. So just put your hook into the stitch that's on the opposite side, and now your hook should be in 2 stitches, your next stitch and the stitch on the opposite side to that stitch. So you've sort of formed a little taco shape. So that's the 2 stitches that you will be going into for the first step. But first we are going to yarn over, as we're going to be doing a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet into those first 2 stitches. So put your hook into the next stitch and then put your hook into the one immediately across from that. So try to make sure you don't miss any stitches. And then we are going to yarn over and pull through, so you have 3 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops, and then yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops, and that's a double crochet. Now we're going to do a half double crochet into those same 2 stitches. So yarn over and then put your hook back into those same 2 stitches, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to do a double crochet back into those same 2 stitches again. So yarn over, put your hook back into the same 2 stitches, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. So you've just done a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet into those 2 stitches. So now we are going to go into the next stitch along, and then we're going to go into the next stitch along on the other side at the same time, so right here. So once again, we're into the 2 stitches on opposite sides, and now we're just going to single crochet into those 2 stitches. Then we're going to do that with the next 2 stitches as well. So another single crochet, and then put your hook into the next 2 stitches and another single crochet. So you've just done 3 single crochets. Now into the next 2 stitches, we are going to do double crochet, half double crochet, and a double crochet. So go ahead and do that into those 2 stitches. So now that you've done that, you are going to do a single crochet into the next 3 sets of stitches. So 3 single crochets along here. So 1, and then 2, and then 3. Now you do the double crochet, half double crochet, double crochet again into the next 2 stitches, or the stitches that are across from each other right here. So go ahead and do that into just these 2 stitches. Now you'll do a single crochet into the next 3 sets of stitches, so 3 single crochets again. And into the last stitch that you have here, the last 2 stitches opposite each other, you're going to do, once again, your double crochet, half double crochet, and then double crochet. If you have any space at the end or any stitches remaining, just do a single crochet into your last one, but I don't. So now what we are going to do is we're going to leave a bit of a tail for sewing and then cut the remainder off. And then we'll pull through to finish off. So once you have your wing, you are going to go ahead and create your second wing. So go ahead and create another wing identical to this one. Now that you have 2 wings, what we need to do is we need to choose one of these and bring the yarn tail through to the other side, as they're going to be facing opposite directions. So we need it to be like this when we sew it on, and we need to bring this yarn tail down to here. So I'm just going to grab my yarn needle, and we are just going to feed the yarn tail through to the other side. So just try and bring it through the center. So it's just currently going through the center here. And just bring it right to the opposite side. So this may make the wing crunch in on itself a little bit, but we're going to fix that soon. So once you pulled that through, you can just pull this other side out a little bit in case it's pulled in on itself. And now you've pulled the yarn tail through to the other side, so you'll be able to sew on your wings like this. Now we are going to do the ears. So for the ears, you'll need your primary color. And we are going to begin once again by doing 6 single crochets into our magic ring. Now for round 2, we'll do single crochet increase times by 3, and this will take us up to 9 stitches in total. And now for the last round of the ear, we're just going to do 2 single crochets and an increase times by 3. And this will take us up to 12 stitches. Now we're going to leave a bit of a tail for sewing our ear on. We can cut it off about there. And then we can finish off by pulling through. Now you'll need to create a second ear just like this one. So go ahead and create another ear identical to this ear. Once you have your 2 ears, we can move them aside and move on to the sewing. So the first thing that we are going to do is sew the ears onto the head. So we're going to grab both of our ears. We're going to want them sewn on about here on the head. So here's a top view. And I'm actually going to use my old yarn needle to sort of pin the right ear right there. So I'll just use this. And this will just make it easier when I'm sewing so that it will stay in the same place. So I'm going to grab my other yarn needle to sew it on. And I'm going to start with where the tail is coming out of. And I'm just going to go into the head right below that point. Now I'm going to go into the next stitch of the ear and across a stitch just like this. And then into the head and across a stitch, into the ear and across a stitch. And you are just going to sew all the way around the ear until you're happy with how it looks. And once you're happy with how the ear is sewn on, you can just bring the tail to a random point in the back and we will tie it to the tail from the other ear later on. So now you can take the bigger yarn needle out of the top or whatever thing you're using to hold it there if you are. And this is what the first ear looks like. Now you're going to grab your second ear and you just want to make sure it's lined up with the first ear, so on the same sort of round. And once you're happy with its positioning, you can use the pin or the yarn needle once again to pin it in if you'd like. And now we're going to grab our other yarn needle and put the yarn tail into it. And then we can sew into the head where the yarn tail begins. And we just want to make sure the whole time that it is lined up with the other ear, so keep checking on that. But go ahead and sew round this ear just like you did with the first ear. And once you're happy with how it's sewn on, you can just bring the tail to the same point as the other tail in the back and just pull through. And then we will tie these two tails together and then we'll cut them off and poke them inside. So this is what the back currently looks like with its ears. And now we get to sew the wings on. So have a look at the wings. And if you have a look at the stitches on the wings, you can tell that this is backwards. So when we were single crocheting into the top of the wings with the purple yarn, this is the way that we were facing. So that is the way that should face forward on the bat, not this way. This is the incorrect way. So have a look at your stitches, make sure the correct way is facing forward. Now the wings will be sewn on to look a little bit like this. So they'll just be coming out the back of the body. We're just gonna make sure that that's where we want them to be positioned. I'm just gonna put my right wing to the side and I'm gonna grab my little yarn needle that I used to pin and I'm gonna flip this over and just pin that down right there. So this will ensure that the wing stays there when I am sewing it on. Then you're gonna grab your yarn tail and your actual yarn needle and then pull the yarn tail through. So we immediately are going to sew into the back of the body with the yarn tail. Then we'll sew back into the wing and back into the body. And you may have to use your light purple yarn on the darker purple areas if necessary, but it's okay because if you just do it right down the bottom here, then it won't cover much of the dark purple and it will look normal. So just like that there. So we'll just do that a couple of times. So this is how it's looking from the front. It's looking pretty good, but we just want to sew it on a few more times at the back just to ensure that it's going to be stable. And then once you're happy with how that is sewn on, you can just bring the yarn tail down the bottom through to a random spot, and we'll tie it together with the yarn tail from the other wing later. But this is how your wing looks currently. For reference, here is the mini bat with its wings. Now you're going to go ahead and grab your other wing, and we're going to sew that on the other side. So once again, put the yarn tail onto your yarn needle, and we are just going to sew into where the wing is positioned. And we're going to go out of the wing and and into the body multiple times. Then once you're happy with how it's sewn on, you just need to bring the tail to the same point as the other yarn tail. And then you can tie your two yarn tails together and then cut them off and poke them inside. Now this is optional, but I'm just going to grab some pink yarn to embroider some blush on the cheeks. And this is your completed bat. I hope that you enjoyed crocheting your bat plushie. If you did and you would like the written pattern, it will be linked in the description. So feel free to go check that out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next free tutorial. Bye!